is this show free? Well, Gracefully and Frankly is made possible by Sierra Sil with special formulations for your joint pain and a money-back guarantee. Sierra Sil is a Canadian-made product that my hockey-playing husband and I have relied on for a decade.
Find them at sierrasil.com. Sierra, like the mountains, Sil, like silicon.com. Get 10% off your order with the code GF.
Well, this is a small milestone. Welcome to episode 60 of Gracefully and Frankly. I'm Erin Davis.
I'm Lisa Brandt. So episode 60, is that the new 50?
I think so.
So we've got a few more travel tales because nothing goes smoothly when you travel by air anymore.
Yeah, and nothing goes smoothly when you travel as Erin anymore. Sometimes I just get in my own way, and I'll explain one of the stupidest things that you can do in the airport. Just one of them.
And you got some advice that everyone seems to share without looking at the details. And it's just another one of those things where, thanks for your help. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. Okay, talking about adulting. I don't know if you like that as a verb, but sometimes it just fits because I don't know if you find this, but we're talking about the things that make you feel like you're a grown-up. And believe it or not, it still happens at this age.
It does, because we are just kids in our head, right? Most of the time.
Absolutely.
What not to say in a fight with a significant other, besides the obvious that we would just have to beep out like and maybe.
Yeah, we'll share some really good advice on that. A little late for Valentine's Day, but hopefully you weren't fighting over it anyway. It's all ahead. We got a great show for you on the way. And they always say, don't go to bed angry. Well, we say, don't go to bed and wake up with wrinkles on your face, thanks to your pillow, too.
Your Envy pillow will not only keep your face wrinkle-free, for me, it also helps my neck pain, which, Erin, I've had for years since I had a couple of car accidents back to back. And when you have to put your head up on an angle to get on a regular pillow, that's not good for the old neckaroonie. So, did I say neckaroonie?
You did.
Anyway, the Envy pillow is more like a cradle for the neck, supports it. It's got all these great things in it, all natural, copper as well, which we know is good for your skin. And we do all this rejuvenating overnight. Why not do it with some help from your Envy pillow?
It's Envy. Don't take any imitators. ENVY pillow.com. There are cheaper neck pillows out there, but you get your money's worth. And there's a guarantee. Go to envypillow.com, use the code GF, and get 10% off. Hey, I missed on Tuesday wishing you a happy World Radio Day, but you know what? It wasn't that happy for a lot of Canada on Tuesday, again with the Bell story.
Yeah, 4,800, not all radio, of course, but 4,800 going. And, I can understand it, Erin. I mean, Bell only gets $40 million a year from the federal government to keep itself alive. So, everybody has to tighten their belts, right?
Mm-hmm.
All they care about is the shareholders, and they never liked radio. They never wanted radio. So it's gross.
Yeah, and we're talking about those 4,800 last week, but then this week, a whole bunch of shows and stuff were canceled. You don't just say shows, you say people whose lives have now been really changed and are looking for work, and they're going through all the emotional upheaval. We've both been there, and it really sucks. So, oh man, we're so lucky to have this.
Yes, we are very lucky because this is actually like the 4,800 was the big number, but they're going to keep cutting through to spring. And it's just going to keep happening and happening and happening. So we're going to be hearing about this every week. Yes, we are lucky to have this. And anybody can pivot. I keep telling my radio friends who get fired, you have transferable skills. You can do other things. Well, this is all I've ever done. Yeah, I said that at one point too. But there are other things people can do. They don't have to go live in a cardboard box. Here's something else, though, Erin. So, for example, in London, there are thousands of manufacturing jobs that are unfilled. And, there was a time in my life where I might have thought, I'm in radio. Why would I look at a manufacturing job? Oh, yeah? All my friends who went into manufacturing retired 10 years ago and have pensions and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for getting a job that's going to stay there for a while. So I hope people just sort of think outside the box. I'm not saying that's their only option. I'm just saying that there's pride in anything you do. So look around and change your mind.
That's something that your stoicism brings to your life now. It's like, okay, that happened. What am I going to do about it? In fact, I found myself in that very situation last week when I was coming back from California. And guess what? One of my suitcases didn't make it.
Of
It's
course.
becoming an ongoing thing.
And I asked you what airline, like it matters. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who you're flying with.
Right? We're Canada. We have two big ones and the rest are little ones and they're all messing us up. But, some are better than others. Rob meets me at Victoria Airport and he's got this bouquet of flowers. It was cute as could be.
Aw.
We didn't have Dottie back yet and her new sister. So we get there and carousel's going around and Rob looks at the app and says, nope, the other bag is in Vancouver. This may be wrong, but I think the other bag's in Vancouver. And sure enough, it was. So we go over to the baggage counter and there's this guy, Brad. That is a job you do not want.
Right.
When we're talking about employment, that's a job they can't pay you enough to do because you are dealing with seriously ticked off people.
Yeah.
We weren't. So I said to Brad, okay, so our suitcase didn't make it. We know where it is. Tell us what to do. So he said, just fill this out. Then there were people who were coming up in the kind of queue behind us. And I turned around and we chatted with them a little bit. And I said, this is Bradley. He's about to make your night a whole lot better. And the smile on Bradley's face, it's like, you see me, you appreciate what I go through. And it really made his night. And it was nice to do that because I knew it wasn't his fault, right?
No. Can you imagine how many people come up to him in a day saying,
yeah,
fix this for me and I need my thing? Ah.
Well, admittedly, when you're in your vacation or your temporary destination, you need your bags a lot more than I did. Like you and I have completely different scenarios here. You were up against it.
Yeah. You also found out a great piece of trivia that most of us don't know as to why planes will leave without you.
Yes. See, when I landed in Vancouver, I had to book it. Our plane was a little bit late leaving Palm Springs, and there was, an hour and a half or so. But Vancouver is an enormous airport. You have to change from international to domestic and so on and so forth, and customs and all that. So I was running. I was literally running. And then when we got to Victoria and I was chatting with Bradley, I said, all these people, fortunately, someone on our flight said there are Victoria people need to make their connection. And the flight attendant made the announcement, please stay seated so the Victoria people can get off, which was fantastic. But then you wonder if a plane is expecting a dozen or so passengers on a small flight, why wouldn't they wait? Well, we found out. You ready? Apparently, according to my associate at Victoria International Airport, the airline gets charged $1,000 a minute for every extra minute they stay in the gate past their departure time.
Wow.
So when you start doing the math, if it comes down to Erin misses her flight to Victoria and they got to put her on another plane, or the Smiths have to stay at the Holiday Inn or whatever, the math works in the airline's favor to let them miss the flight rather than pay the overage, the overtime. What do you think of that?
Compensation would be a lot less money. And there are millions of us. They're always going to find more passengers.
Yeah.
Take a few off and there more replace them in a minute. It's like killing a housefly.
This is such a stupid Erin story. You're going to laugh, but I wasn't the only one.
Okay.
Went to Palm Springs Airport. I was so proud of myself. I did so much adulting that day, Lisa. I got the house all ready for the cleaners to come, locked it up. Remembered, unlike in Hawaii last year, I remembered to put the garage door opener back in the house instead of taking it to the airport. Oh, God. Took the garbage out, took the recycling to the side of the house, did all the adulting, got all the laundry started, because somewhere in my mind, there is an award show for best rental guest.
That's right. And you have your speech in your handbag, right? Yeah.
I do. No, it's in my luggage. It never made it. So I get to the airport. I got lots of time. I go up the escalator. Palm Springs Airport is beautiful, as you know. I mean, you can describe it as well as I.
Oh, gorgeous. It's lush, it's got plants, it's outdoors, it's just beautiful. A great coffee shop.
Yeah, it is lovely. And the Sonny Bono walkway and stuff. It's crazy when you get there and you remember he was the mayor. But I go up the escalator. I remember vaguely what my gate was. And I sit down near the gate. I don't want to be near all those people. I want to take my mask off for a little bit. So, I'd been outside for a long time. I went up to the gate. I thought, let's get closer to my departure. I sit down. And I decide, well, this is a good time to meditate because I have been meditating daily and I want to make sure that I keep it up. So I put in my AirPods and I do this 10-minute meditation. Okay, all good. Take them out. And then I look up at the gate and I see, okay, Vancouver. And then I realize, no, that's Air Canada. I'm taking WestJet. So I think, okay, well, they should be boarding my plane and they're not. Something's wrong. So then I go over, this woman walks straight into my carry-on. She falls down. I pick her up. She's fine.
Oh.
And she goes off on her way. So then I'm going like, okay, well, where's my gate? I go over to another airline and I say, can you tell me where gate 16 is? She goes, oh, you got to go down the escalator. It's in the regional terminal. And I'm like, regional terminal? I didn't know there was a freaking regional terminal. Did you, Lisa? You took the one up the escalator, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. You were in it then.
Yeah, I guess I was.
I ran, was at the end of the line to get on the plane. They were already in the middle of boarding. And who was I standing next to but the woman who tripped on my suitcase because she made the same mistake.
And she wasn't meditating.
No, she wasn't. And so we were laughing over it. And I thought, this is just the cutest Hallmark meet cute if we were going to have a romance, which, I'm not. But it was just one of those ridiculous things. So don't meditate in the airport unless you're near your gate. And know just when you're getting on, then do go meditate. There, I made a poem. Yes. It's all better now.
Wow. Meditating in an airport, that's a gift. I could not do that. I'd be clutching onto my bag so hard and just wanting to watch the sea of humanity go by.
It's a gift I'd like to give back. Okay? Thank you. And one more thing about travel, and then we'll stop. Remember we talked, was it last week or the week before, people saying, oh, you got to get air tags. Remember that?
Yes, I remember.
When I mentioned that I had a luggage prayer and I posted that, do you know people said, just travel with carry-on? Lisa?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I got that, too.
Oh, my God. Okay.
I know. How are you supposed to go for weeks and weeks with just carry-on? Not to mention you had a microphone and all these other things as well.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic.
No. And I brought back a weighted blanket, but that was in the suitcase that didn't make it. Yes, I know the benefits of carry-on. We all do. We're adults and we travel a lot, but not for 5 weeks.
Right. And who knew what the weather was going to be like? You needed backup clothing and
I did.
All sorts of things.
I know.
But Erin.
What?
I travel all the time and I only ever take carry-on.
I know.
And
you.
If I need something, I buy it.
Yeah, and I get that. I did that in Toronto when I went last November. All I brought back was carry-on and COVID. Oh. All right, change the subject. The stress of adulting so much, and I use that as a verb because I'm so used to Rob doing everything.
Right.
Are you that way with Derek?
No, it's actually a little bit the other way. I kind of take care of things that have details. And so it's kind of in reverse. But I don't feel like I'm adulting when I'm doing it with him. I feel like what the adulting is in my life is arranging for a repair person to come over or paying bills online. That makes me feel like an adult, like I want to go back to being a kid.
There's all those things, and honestly, I should learn how to do them.
You don't have to, though. You have Rob.
I know, but I won't always have Rob. See, it's the memento mori that the Stoics say, remember death, remember death. And it's just like, I've got a friend who lives in Ajax and her husband has now become quite ill and she's never driven. So now they're like, okay, now what do we do?
Oh, that's not good. Oh, yeah. Oh, that must be so hard.
Exactly. So, yeah, I've got to do more of this stuff on my own. I don't know how half the stuff in this house works, but Rob calls that marriage security. Which next Tuesday will be 36 years.
Wow.
It'll be our 36th anniversary.
36 years. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just one marriage, right? Like just the one.
Yeah. There is so much to be said for inertia. I just, can't be bothered. He's got all the passwords.
Oh, that's not true. You two are like peas in a pod. You're what Derek and I call bees because we call each other bee. And when a couple is moving in the same direction and they're rowing the same way, we call them bees.
Mm.
You guys are bees. And have you always known how to be respectful and fight well and all that kind of stuff? Or you do fight, right?
No. No, we don't.
Argue?
No.
You'd never argue?
No.
Oh.
And, gee, we just don't. The only time, if we get upset about something, it's always about something outside of us. And Rob will say, I'm your partner on this, right? We're both on the same team. We both want the same thing. And that's one of the keys to negotiation is collaboration. And it's not me versus you. It's you and me against the world. Quote an old Helen Reddy song, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't really have any tricks on how to be happy after all these years. I mean, maybe you're doing it right. After all, Usher got married for the third time in Las Vegas, and so did you. I heard he did that after the Super Bowl. How cool is that?
Very cool. I mean, he's there already. May as well make a weekend of it, right?
Yeah, they had an Elvis impersonator, apparently.
We didn't get the Elvis impersonator, and some people say it's because we didn't get the full package, but we didn't want one. People ahead of us had one, and it looked like a lot of fun. I mean, when in Rome, right?
So we don't really have any tips except for that remembering that you are on the same team. You are collaborating. But there was a really good article from the New York Times about therapists saying what you should never say in a fight. Do you have any ideas?
Well, we don't really argue. We have one blow up a year, and it's never no name calling, no anything like that, but just where we get so frustrated, steam comes out our ears and we walk away. That's about annually. But I know that there are some things that really get to me that I would guess are on that list. And one is you're overreacting. And I will say, I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting. You know?
Yes.
Is that one of them?
That is one of the things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a dismissal.
Right.
No one person gets to measure emotional responses or determine what reaction is appropriate.
Yeah.
That phrase is often used to bypass accountability. Instead of judging, what you can say is, okay, I'm listening. Tell me more. Help me understand what you're having a hard time with.
The other part of that is I think it's up to me as well to know my triggers,
Mm.
to know what might be being called up from childhood or something, so that when he says I'm overreacting, I can stop and go, maybe I am. But I'm not going to admit that now.
No. Calm down.
Oh,
Is another one. It's like oil in the fire or you're crazy.
right.
If one partner is agitated or both are, you're advised to take a short break and cool down. And that's exactly what you said you do.
Oh, we always do. If it's getting a little too heated or whatever, we just walk away because we're friends 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to hurt each other.
That's right. You're bees.
Yeah, that's right. We're bees.
Okay. So another thing you can do in that situation is what do you need right now? For you to give me a divorce is not the right answer.
No.
It is maybe to be helped or heard or hugged. And again, along those same lines, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Well, obviously to somebody it is.
Yeah.
But to go back to a few other things you should never say, generalizations like you always do that or you never do that.
Right.
It's an exaggeration.
Yeah.
And they really kind of don't acknowledge the efforts that your partner is trying to make.
Right. Because even if they're not succeeding, they're still trying.
Yeah. And it makes them defensive. And the last thing you want to do is to put someone that you're having a discussion with on the defense, right?
Yeah, true.
Oh, and then there's yes, but. Yeah, but. It's the but.
Yeah. And the throwing it back to the other person like, oh, yes, but remember 2 weeks ago when you did this? It's like, no. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this. We can talk about that later, but we're talking about this. Yeah.
It's like, with all due respect, once you say that or but, what has come before or what is coming next has been completely erased because it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Another one is comparing your partner with somebody else. You should be more like, try and be more like Derek. That is never going to work. And apparently it shows up in therapy a lot.
Really? Oh, that's awful.
Mm-hmm. Or This was never an issue in my other relationships. Ooh, the hidden message? The problem that we have in this relationship
Is you.
Yeah, it's you.
I'm having a flashback to an earlier marriage. Oh,
Really?
I had two. I don't have to say which one.
No, you don't. You go ahead.
That's great stuff, though.
It is good stuff. And yeah, it's a little late for Valentine's Day, but that's okay because a lot of people don't really go in for all the flowers and chocolates and all that kind of stuff.
No, I asked for one thing. I asked to not make dinner that night. Just get something. That's all I wanted.
So what did you do?
Swiss chalet.
Oh, you're rubbing it in. We don't have that here.
Oh, you don't? Oh, no, just Swiss chalet chicken with veggies on the side, and I'm a happy camper because I didn't have to eat it. I didn't have to eat it. Oh, I ate it. I didn't have to cook it.
Right. Good. Yeah. In case you're new to us here at Gracefully and Frankly, I, Erin, am located on Vancouver Island, and Lisa is in lovely Port Stanley, named after Stanley Cups, the giant coffee cups.
That's right. And we've got the biggest one here. For $5, you can tour it. No.
That would be a great tourism thing, Lisa. You know how different places have the biggest Muskoka chair or whatever?
Ball of twine.
Yes. Okay, Port Stanley has to make a giant Port Stanley mug out of some old oil refiner or something and come and get your picture at the Port Stanley mug. Now, if there's anybody who doesn't know what a Stanley mug is, should we go ahead and explain that?
Yes. They're the giant water cups that I don't understand why they took off. They've become the epitome of the water bottle that you need or the mug that you need. What did that?
I don't know. SNL did a great sketch on it about a month ago. And
Yes.
It was, if I'm drinking, I'm peeing, because it's so bloody big. And I don't get these massive cups that people have to haul around. And often it fits in the cup holder, but it doesn't really fit with much of anything else. It can be top heavy unless it has lead in it, which Stanley admits their mugs do have in some cases.
Mm-hmm. There's this movement toward drinking so much water that you have to pee all the time. And I don't understand that either. I mean, maybe it's good for you, but I like to leave the house occasionally.
Well, that's it. And I do know from, a lifetime of dieting that the more water you drink, the more you are able to cut down the number of times you pee. It sounds counterintuitive, but I think that that's the case. But no, I just don't get it. And, I remember an Andy Rooney bit from I don't know how many years ago, of course, from 60 Minutes. He used to do the commentary at the end of the broadcast. And he did a thing about water. Why does everybody have to have a water bottle now? And it kind of makes sense. Make sure you've got water next to you. Well, I get it at the gym, absolutely. But like at yoga or wherever else, when did this happen? Is it the bottled water people? I don't know. Is it Coca-Cola?
I don't know. I always have water with me, but it doesn't have to be the size of an oak barrel. And I don't drink as much as I'm told I should. I do drink water all day long, but it's more like sipping. I mean, to each their own, but having to have this Stanley Cup, kids are getting beaten up over them and all these things are happening. It's just ridiculous. It's just a cup.
There. We've been noticing that for so long now, and we're not shaming anybody with the giant cup. Go ahead. Fill your boots. Fill your cup. We are cup half full people anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just add it to the things we don't get is all.
Right.
Well, my cup is runneth over. Running over.
We're word maker-uppers. Yes, we are.
Well, I told this story in my journal at erindavis.com, but good news like this deserves to be shared more than once. Here we go. And we'll talk about short memories and stuff coming up. If you saw the Jon Stewart show earlier in the week, or maybe you didn't, just a few thoughts on that. But first, we have Livy in our house and never, ever, ever would have predicted another dog coming to the family.
So how did she come about then?
Well, last Friday, we drove up to get her at the breeders at Misty Trails, and we knew about another mom who had just given birth a week before Dottie. So basically, they were in the maternity ward together, just the two of them and all their beautiful puppies, a total of 10. I don't know how Bev the breeder does it, but she does. And Livy couldn't go back to her home. Her owner, her son passed away, which is just terrible.
Oh.
And her son had 2 dogs, and the mother felt like she should take care of her son's dogs. And so that left Livy as another dog, and the mom also felt it was too much to care for her.
Mm.
Now, Livy is 3 months older than Dottie, but about 2/3 the size. She weighs 5 pounds less than Dottie, if you can imagine it. She's just a little smudge, and she needed a home. Dottie and Livy get along beautifully. Livy is short for Levitas, which is Latin for blue, which is her color, a bluey gray. We call her Livy. We call her Libby. We call her Beans. Because, you remember the Libby's jingle, right?
Yes, Libby's on your
On the label, you
Yep.
will.
Like it.
Because the grandkids looked at us like we were nuts. We are, but anyway. So she and Dottie are getting along great. And they're fitting into the house like they were always here, Lisa. So you've got another little fur baby to visit next time you come.
I can't wait. And, talk about a lucky dog landing in your lap. So that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And we were kind of chosen for this. Bev decided that Livy would be a good fit with our family and with Dottie and with Sammy, Brooke and Phil's dog. And they're all Havanese because people see pictures and they go, okay, what kind of dog is that?
Mm-hmm.
It's a dog that originated in Havana, Cuba. So we've broken her of her cigars and she's fine. So we're really, really a happy family. Yay.
That's just wonderful. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. Hey, not so happy this week. A lot of fans of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I've seen clips. You watched the whole thing. So tell me if you think that the criticisms of his both sides-ism are accurate. What'd you think?
I don't think so. So he's come back to The Daily Show for Mondays only, and this was his first one, right? So he is going on about, what an idiot Donald Trump is. And then he, rightly, I think, points out some of the gaffes and some of the issues with Joe Biden. I mean, these are he points this out. I didn't decide this myself, that these are the oldest men to run for president since their earlier selves. The last presidential election.
Yeah.
So there are some issues with guys this age, these particular guys. And I think it's fair. I think that if you're going to hold one guy to a standard and the other one doesn't meet it either, this is what balance is about. I thought it was fair.
I'm all for being fair. And as we talked about earlier in the podcast, it's got to be you and me against the world and not me versus you. So I think what he may be doing is bringing sides together to face the problem together and go on from there. It was Rick Wilson of the Lincoln Project who I think put it most succinctly. Yeah, they're both old, but one is evil. So let's look at that.
That's absolutely true. But I also think that sometimes we get too caught up in demonizing other people and washing over what's happening on our side. And I think it works both ways, of course, but I just never want to do that. I always want to be fair. I think he was just being fair.
You're not alone. A lot of people are just glad to see him back. And I had the opportunity this week to speak with CBC's Anthony Morgan, who does The Nature of Things. He co-hosts that. And his PhD was in getting people to agree. And if I see a red hat on someone, to not automatically know what they're thinking and what they stand for. It's to find our similarities instead of our differences. And if that's what Jon Stewart's doing, well, let's just see how it pans out.
It was just the first one, and everybody has such high hopes for him. He even talks about how fast he's aged, being in the public eye and being on television. It's pretty funny, actually. Just give him a little bit of a chance. I mean, more of a chance than Usher got at the Super Bowl halftime show. Let's put it that way.
Those roller skates, I saw somebody do the splits in roller skates, and I said to Rob, I can do that. But I'm never getting up again. Ever.
That's right. I did not have Super Bowl roller skates on my bingo card.
No. And speaking of things we watch and listen to, listen up. This podcast, if you're listening wherever you usually listen, it's now available on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you can just, turn it on in the living room or wherever you've got YouTube or on your phone or whatever. We're there for you.
And I'd like to make a little appeal for not only subscribers to subscribe.
Mhm.
Come back every week anyway. Just subscribe and you'll get an alert.
Yeah.
But we could really use some more reviews on Facebook as well. On our Gracefully and Frankly Facebook page, that helps get us noticed. People can find us more easily, and people have left 5-star reviews. We love that, but we'd love for you to do it as well.
I didn't know that. You see, I don't even know this stuff.
There you go.
So together, the list of stuff we do not know is long, but we tend to make up for each other's lapses, right?
It's long and it's growing, and mine gets longer every day.
Yeah, but the good thing is at this age, and this isn't ageism, it's just us, we forgot about the stuff we didn't know.
So who knew?
Yeah, exactly. Have a nice long weekend, and we'll be back with you next week. Happy 60th episode, Lisa, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you to Sierra Sill.
And to Envy Pillow, of course, for being with us. Thanks.